Sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but that happens sometimes with live TV. So, Ron, thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing what you can to get on.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. After yesterday, this is frustrating today.
Well, we'll see how fast we can get through this for you. We'll start off with our leadoff story. The New England Patriots took care of business last night, defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 35-0. What were some of your takeaways from the game?
All right, my first takeaway is that the Philadelphia Eagles are horrible.
Okay.
They may be the worst team in the league.
I mean, they didn't play many of their starters, so I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they're the worst team, but I mean, no Jalen Hurts, none of their defensive starters. So from that standpoint, I mean, they're not good, but I wouldn't say they're the worst.
Well, I mean, they mounted no offense. And to be fair, the Patriots' second team offensive line bodied Philadelphia. They bodied them.
Yeah, so our running game looked phenomenal yesterday. I think they did a great job of, control the line of scrimmage. All four running backs that actually played, I mean, did really well. So, yeah, from a running standpoint, yes, which we knew it was going to be a strength of this team. So you're starting to see what Bill Belichick was definitely trying to do. With the way he designed this team this year was, get the two tight ends for the passing attack, but you want to make sure that you got a solid line and solid running backs behind it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what did they do wrong? They did absolutely nothing wrong yesterday.
Well, I got a few things. But we'll go with the positives first. We'll stick with the Cam Newton, 8 for 9, 103 yards and a touchdown. Threw a dart to Jacoby Myers on the side, and Myers did the rest. But it was nice to see that he was in sync, only one incompletion. Mac Jones, 13 for 19, 146 yards. No touchdowns, but again, looked solid. Looked like he feels comfortable in that offense. 31-14 in first downs. Great job getting the ball, getting first downs, continue to move the clock. I think at one point they had like a 9-minute drive with Mac Jones, and you know what I mean? It just right at the end of the second quarter. So really good to see. 486 yards total offense. Can't complain there either.
Well, like you said, I was impressed with Cam Newton, to be honest with you. And I've been on him like pigeons on popcorn.
Yep.
He played very well. They all did. Look, Philadelphia gave up 2 of 3 with Hoyer on them. That's bad. When Hoyer makes Hoyer look like an all-star.
Ramon Stevenson, again, 14 carries, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did have that fumble. So, again, got to hold on to the ball. But that kid looks like he's going to be a goal line, running back for us, a la LeGarrette Blount, who they're kind of comparing him to. You could see it. You can see he's just a hard-nosed runner.
Yeah.
Guy that impressed me a lot yesterday, too, J.J. Taylor. 11 carries, 88 yards. Taylor. Right? The moves he made, he's got a lot of quickness. Reminded me of Dion Lewis, just those stop moves and the spins. And kid looks like he's going to be a legitimate contributor. They've got a lot of depth at the running back position. It's going to be a tough call on who they keep.
It's I mean, I think you got to go with Stevenson and Taylor and Sony Michel. I think after that, the others are in trouble.
Damian Harris? Damian Harris has been their starter the first 2 games of the preseason. So again, they're solid there. I don't. So here's where I found some deficiencies. The kicking situation with Quinn Nordin, missed 2 extra points in the field goal. Not sure what's going on with Nick Folk. They've kind of kept it under the radar. If he's not ready to go, they need to bring a kicker in, because this kid, as much as he's got a solid leg, he has to be able to make these these kicks. It's important. It's crucial.
Absolutely. Like he might be the only one that played bad, to be honest with you. Like he had a really bad game after having a great game last week. So can we get that happy medium somewhere?
I hope so, because I don't think this team's gonna blow people away with points. So they need to make sure that they're definitely, they've got a solid kicker to kind of keep that in wraps.
Right.
But I also had a problem with the penalties. So last week, 9 penalties. This week, 8 penalties.
Yeah.
Not a Bill Belichick coach team when you talk about penalties.
He wants discipline and control of the ball. So anytime you get penalties and you fumble, you start getting in the doghouse, and you cannot do that with Bill Belichick because you will sit on the bench forever until he cuts you.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, again, to your point, I think it was a great performance. I'm not going to anoint them, championed by any stretch of the imagination. But I do like the direction they're heading. I'm still a little concerned with the wide receivers. I just didn't see enough from them to make me feel good about it.
What is his name? Ozulski or whatever his name is? I can't pronounce his name, but he had a really good game. And
Oshevsky, our punt returner.
Whatever his name is. Oh, we'll just call him O. Oski.
It's like me pronouncing hockey names right now. I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at him, he had 14.3 yards, per catch. And Myers, 18.7, and Wilkerson, 12.0. Again, Harry had one in his hands, even though he was laying out and it was a tough catch. He had it in his hands, and he should have caught that ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't see how they don't try to trade or cut this at this point. Look, he's just injury prone. Here we go again. We saw him. We're hearing about how great he is in camp, and then as soon as he got, I mean, that's a basic football move. And I'm not saying, look, at my age, yes, if I made that dive, I'm probably not getting up. At his age, in his condition, he should be getting up. And it just seems like anytime he gets a nick, bruise, bang, he's done. He's out, and he's not going to be dependable or counted on this season. Why keep him?
No, and you can bring somebody in that is going to give you what he's giving you. That is going to cost you a lot less.
Nothing. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think Wilkerson, as much as I don't think he's phenomenal, he's better than Harry. I would keep Wilkerson over Harry at this point, and just ride with that.
Right, and we still have Aguilar, who really hasn't done anything in the games yet.
Inborn.
But
yep.
So I don't think Harry really matters. He doesn't really matter. I am feeling really confident about those 4 other receivers, maybe 5 with Bourne. I feel okay with that. I mean, this is going to be a team that is going to run the ball, control the clock, and then that defense is going to be big. And I think that defense is going to be good, but you need Gilmore.
Which we will discuss that on our face-off.
Oh, yes, we will.
I did want to get into one thing, and I need you to finally start to admit to me that Cam Newton should be the starter. And I'm going to explain to you why. We're still not a passing team. And I understand everybody says Mac looks great. Mac can pass the ball. He's accurate. This team is built to run the ball and play solid defense. You don't need a passer now this year. You don't need a pocket passer who's going to be slinging it across the field. Let this kid learn this year. He's going to be a great quarterback for us. I can see it. You can see it.
Yeah.
But to put him out there early, it makes no sense. And this is why I was trying to make that point with Cam. I don't think Cam's better. I just think he's better for this team this year.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. I still think Mac is more accurate.
Absolutely.
I still think he is the better quarterback. But I'm looking at how Cam played this game. If he can do that in the third preseason game, then there's no way he's not going to be the starter in week 1. That's the way I see it. Because he's not doing anything to lose the job yet. He's not doing anything to lose the job. Mac is playing well enough to win the job.
Yep. Agreed.
But Cam isn't playing bad enough to lose the job right now. And like I told you when we had all these signings and stuff like that, Bill Belichick would have not done all of those signings if Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl last year.
Agreed.
He would have been content going in, Cam Newton, you're starting, will be mediocre, all season long. But then Tom Brady won that Super Bowl, and he had to sign people because now he wants to beat Tom Brady. So he put a team together that Trent Dilfer can win with. And I say that reference because Dilfer went to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And won a Super Bowl.
And that's my point.
You don't have to be the great one with a team that they've set up. Yes, you'd like to see a receiver like an Edelman or something like that in there. But this team is built on defense and running.
Yep.
And it can make the playoffs. It can make a big push because that defense is so good with Gilmore.
We'll get into that. All right, but great points. Let's move on to, again, another local team for us. The Boston Celtics have made a couple moves in the last 2 days here. So Marcus Smart has re-signed a 4-year, $77 million deal with the Celtics to remain with them till 2025-26. What's your opinion of the deal?
Okay, so
I feel like this is going to be.
I like the idea of Smart being on this team.
Here we go.
But I am not giving him that much money. I'm not giving him that much money. There's no freaking way I'm paying out that to him.
This is a value deal. It's going to sound crazy, but it's a value deal. If you think about what he brings to a team, he's still a trade option for the Boston Celtics because they didn't overpay him. That's where I think Brad Stevens did a great job with this. He's making $19 million a year on this deal. Again,
I think it's too much money for him. Too much money.
Listen, for what he does, there's a team that would be willing to trade for him if we needed to because he's not going to financially kill him. And that's smart because, look, Marcus Smart, look at that. No pun intended.
I think it was intended.
But if you look at it this way, look, 2 years come down, we're still not doing well, or he's not doing as well. We could still move on from this contract and the player because teams would be willing to trade for him. You pay him $25-30 million, I don't think you get that. You don't see people moving him. For $19 million a year,
money for somebody that doesn't do enough scoring.
So you know the funny. So as I looked at it, he played in 40 games last season. 13.1 points a game is all-time high. So he scored the most points he has in his career so far last season. Shot 37% from the field, 33% from threes, so not great. I think the best he had was a 42% one time from threes.
It's not good enough.
Not good. But he also averaged 5.7 assists this season, which was his high. So he's starting to evolve his game a little bit and become more of a distributor and understanding that maybe he has to pass the ball more. I'm hoping that's what we continue to see.
Well, I mean, look, I like him on this team. I do like him on the team.
He's a playmaker.
And look, we complained about the Celtics being soft all year, and he was the only guy that really had any kind of toughness to him. I think that will change this year with Al Horford coming into play. I think that's a really good move.
You love Al.
I do.
You're blinded, my friend. Al Horford is not going to help this team.
I think it's needed. But like I said, I like Smart being on this team. I just think it was a little too high.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can pay him that.
Yeah. Listen, he's a spark plug. We need it. I would question the next signing that we did today that came down just a couple hours ago. Robert Williams, 4 years, $54 million.
Again, way too high for somebody
That
that
one I
hasn't,
agree with you.
somebody that has not even sniffed doing anything. Like, believe me, I think he's going to be a great player, and it could turn out to be a great deal. But he hasn't done anything to warrant this salary.
So if you're going to play 50% of the time, and I'm giving him that's on the high side. I don't believe he plays 50% of the time.
No.
Yes,
No.
he contributes. Yes, he's a high flyer. The kid's got a ton of potential. I think he could be great if he could stay healthy. So you're bidding on this kid for the next 4 years to stay healthy. That's pretty, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Again, I say, like, I like him on this team, but that is way out there. That's way out there.
And if you look at it this way, Ron, it's not those injuries like he blew out a knee or a shoulder injury where he needed surgery. These are little nagging injuries that he can't seem to play through that ends up costing him games. A strained toe, a finger, whatever it is, where he just can't play through it. 4 more years of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a guy that could get helped by Al Horford.
Yeah, you and Al Horford. I can't right now. You are on this Al Horford bandwagon. Ride that train, buddy. I hope it works. I really do. I loved Big Al.
13 points, 8 boards. That's what I want from Al.
All right. And then Enes Kanter, 11 and 11. That's what I'm hoping for. We're getting neither one of them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another big man in the NBA. Joel Embiid signed a max contract extension with the Philadelphia 76ers. 4 years, $196 million, which keeps him with the team till 2026-27. Was this a good decision for the Sixers?
Yeah. It's $196 million. I mean, it almost matches my salary.
Almost. So close. So close. I need to talk to the producers if they're paying you close to $196 million.
All right, wait. Let me get them for you. Yes, Eric, can I help you?
Hey, all right. So the same argument you just made about Robert Williams, Joel Embiid has not played a full season in 7 years.
He hasn't.
He missed the first 2 years overall. He missed games last year. I mean, his numbers are great. 24.8 points a game, 11.3 rebounds, 3 assists. Right.
Could he be
finished
traded?
second in MVP voting this season? Like, the guy's a legitimate star. I just don't know if he can ever stay healthy enough to help them win it all.
Could this be a sign and then trade? Because they don't really want – I don't think they want to pay him that much.
I can't. I don't think anybody's going to touch him because, again, the injury factor.
Well, there was rumblings about him going to Golden State.
Yeah, I can't see that either. They don't have money. There's no way they could pull that off. They're barely making it now. They just paid Steph $50-something million a year now.
Yeah.
No way. Do you realize too? Philadelphia's only made it to in 4 years that he's actually played in the playoffs with them to the semi-conference finals. They've never gone past the semi-conference finals with him.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like the move. I understand it, but I don't like it. I don't think if I was a Sixers fan right now, I'd be a little upset saying that. Who's going to be with them? Because you're talking about trading Ben Simmons. So if you don't have Ben Simmons, and this was all part of the process, I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of money.
I think a lot of teams are now starting to get ridiculous with the pay just to try to get those guys in to get a championship. And I don't know, maybe Philadelphia feels that they're one player away from a championship and they're going for it. Could they get another player, lure another player over and keep Ben Simmons and try to go for a championship?
They're going to have to do something, but I don't see Ben Simmons staying. Ben Simmons, I mean, at this point, he feels like they don't want him at all. Like the word's been out there. He's also said that he doesn't feel like he wants to return to them anymore. He doesn't want to play for them. I can't see that relationship. That's the scorn lover that, you know what I mean? You found your boyfriend, girlfriend cheating,
Right.
and then they said they made the mistake. Let's try to get back together. But they're still talking to somebody else.
Right.
Like,
So
it's not going to happen.
This just oozes. This oozes New York Jets territory.
The Jets. There we go.
Like
Gotta
the
get a
Jets
Jets suck reference
and
in
their
every show.
The Jets and their ineptness in the NFL. This is Philadelphia. They have all these talented players, and they just keep squandering it every year. And like since Al Iverson, like they've had talent coming in and out.
Yep.
Since then, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to put a team together. And they're going to be in trouble. They are not going to be in the top 4 if they lose one of those 2 big guys.
Yeah, agreed. Eric Bledsoe was traded to the Clippers. Does this make the Clippers better?
It's supposed to, right? When you trade a serviceable veteran, it's supposed to make you better, correct?
Yeah, agreed.
It's supposed to. Will it? I don't know. I don't think so.
So
I just think it's not the move for them.
Yeah, I think we've got a theme. So his numbers are better than Beverly's. So when they traded him, it's an upgrade. It is. But you're also going to expect him to do more because guess who's going to be injured most of the time? Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
So I think we got a theme going today. If you get injured in the NBA, they're going to pay you a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
it makes complete sense.
Look, we keep on some of these teams and what the moves they're making, and the Celtics are one of them. The Clippers are another. And the Lakers, they're doing the same thing over there. They keep getting these guys that are supposed to win you championships, but they're brittle, and they're getting paid big money to spend half the season on the bench watching because they're injured all the time. And then you get teams like Miami, who's putting a nice squad together.
Yeah.
Not all of them are big name players. Like, really, most people will know Butler. And then that's about it. You know what I mean? They got Lowry now. That's how a team gets put together to win a championship. And the same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. Look at them. Like, they're not household names.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, oh yeah. No, without a doubt.
So that is what's winning championships lately. Like, all these superstar squads, they're supposed to win, but when you have one ball and you have 3 megastars, it's not. I don't think it's ever going to really work like that anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But sneaky news here that the Clippers actually were in Inglewood. They're looking to move the team. They actually might get out of the Staples Center and get their own arena. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on.
Them.
Yeah, they deserve it. They're a great team, never to win a championship. Once again, if you're joining us, we're live on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, on Twitch at a later date. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram, and the podcast on Anchor, Google, and Spotify. We also do some live Twitch from time to time now on our Sports Flash. So stay tuned for that on Rhode Island Broadcasting.
Sunday at 10 o'clock, I hope.
Well, we'll see what we can do, my friend. Let's move on to our face-off.
All right, let me get the graphics for that sucker.
Face-off time. I know you've been dying to talk about it. And here we go. The face-off question is, will the Patriots make the playoffs if they do not re-sign Stephon Gilmore and he holds out? Can they make the playoffs, or will they make the playoffs? So I am second technically tonight. So I will pick. And you,
Okay.
I believe you are for them not making the playoffs without Gilmore.
So without him, they're not going to make the playoffs.
So I am, yes, that's what you're saying, correct? That's what I was getting, the vibe I was getting,
Okay.
and I'm against
So
it. So I believe they will make the playoffs even without Gilmore. All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead, my friend.
okay. So first off, you got to look at the division leaders in football. So you got to look at Kansas City. You got to look at Buffalo, and I would think Cleveland
Yeah.
and
Baltimore.
who am I forgetting?
Baltimore.
Tennessee is
Tennessee.
Baltimore, Tennessee. Um, so that leaves really one spot for teams like San Diego, uh, the the Patriots, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and a slew of other teams that are right in the thick of things. Some of those teams have big arms. And if you don't have Gilmore, that is a big hole because then J.C. Jackson, who is great, but he's also covering the second guy.
Yep.
If he's covering the first guy up, that could change a lot of things, and that exposes the Patriots on the other side.
Okay.
And I don't think that they can overcome some of those other teams that are going to be vying for that last playoff spot
All right.
without him.
Time. All right. I hear you. Some valid points, but I'm gonna explain to you now why I'm gonna win. Are you ready?
Sure.
So, what Bill Belichick's built, we have one of the top 5 linebacking cores now at this point. If you haven't seen the last 2 preseason games and Judon and what he's going to bring to this team, if you get pressure on a quarterback and you throw off timing and you make them make bad decisions because there's people in your face, that's where you tend to have these cornerbacks who may not be as good, but are going to be able to make interceptions and make plays. You don't need Stephon Gilmore. Will it absolutely help? Yes. But they can win without Stephon Gilmore and get to the playoffs because they're going to have a front 7 that's going to be so much better, and they're going to create some havoc in the backfield for those quarterbacks. So if I'm Bill Belichick, if I can't work out a deal, it doesn't make or break my season. It doesn't mean that we don't make the playoffs based on what they've picked up. Injuries, different story. If they stay healthy, I think they're fine where they're at. And I think they can win without Stephon Gilmore and make it to the playoffs.
It's just a tall task, man, because now you're exposing J.C. Jackson to the best guy all the time. And then that isn't really the problem. The problem is now the second best guy is running all over, the secondary, against the Patriots on that side.
Jalen Mills. Yeah.
So I worry about that. And with teams that they're going to be competing against for the playoffs, there's some big arms out there, and even with Buffalo, you got a lot of competition. Hebert, I mean, like I'm looking at Cincinnati, they've been playing well too, so like they might actually be a contender for a playoff spot, and I mean, look, Baltimore is no slouch, Cleveland, like there's some teams out there that are really good teams. So I hope no matter what they make the playoffs. With Gilmore, I feel very confident that they can even maybe overcome Buffalo.
It's an easier task, but they don't need him. Let's move on to our triple play. And I heard we were discussing before the show started that you really like this one. We're gonna pick who we're gonna start bench and cut from these all-time great NBA centers: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. So, I mean, there's no wrong answer here, but I want to know who you cutting, Ron. You're up first, my friend.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm taking Bill Russell. Championships don't lie. Like,
all right, there we go. All right,
he's the guy. He's the guy.
You're making sense.
Okay, so now you've got Wilt and Kareem and I
Yep.
gotta lean towards Kareem. I'm benching Kareem because like all that guy did is win his whole career. Really, I mean he won a lot of games, scored a lot of points. You
Yeah.
know, yes, I like the 100 points by Will Chamberlain in one game, but that's one game. Give it to me every damn day. So
Yeah.
Wilt, you're cut.
Wow. I think my dogs like that pick too. That I could hear them in the background here.
And rightfully so.
They liked it. Oh, they were saying that's a dog of a pick because I agree with you with Bill Russell. You can't beat that. 11 championships.
No, you can't beat that.
How do you beat that? Even though his numbers, he was 15, 22, and 4
Yeah.
was his numbers. So he didn't average a lot of points, but he did get those rebounds. I put Wilt as my bench.
Yeah,
Average
I mean,
30 points and 22 rebounds for his career.
I know.
I'm getting production out of that. Yes, Kareem was the all-time scoring leader in the NBA, 24 points, 11 rebounds, though. I mean, and then if you look at the 6 championships, think about the players he had with him with Magic, Worthy. So could he have
Good
done
point.
it on his own?
Good
I don't
point.
know. But I really liked Chamberlain's numbers, but I agreed with you on the championships. I want a winner. I want a guy that I know can win. So that's my starter for sure.
Just out of shits and giggles,
Well,
where would you
job.
put Shaq?
Swear job for you. Where would I put Shaq in that? Out of those 3, he's still not better than those 3.
Right. I was just checking. Just a tad bit underneath. Just a tad.
Yeah. Let's move on to some Major League Baseball, my friend. The season continues to heat up with the Major League races. So let's look at the some of the races here. The American League wild card. Currently, the New York Yankees and the Oakland A's are in the lead. Sox are a half game behind. Mariners 3 games behind. Blue Jays 4.5 games behind. Seeing that you're a Red Sox fan, do you want to explain to me what's going on?
Yeah, like the Yankees are finally showing what they were supposed to at the beginning of the year. It should have been a runaway, to be honest with you.
So can I ask you this question? I'm going to ask you this question. So when we did our pick and roll, and I said the New York Yankees in their trade deadline was the number 1, do you see it now? Does it make sense now?
Well, especially considering the Dodgers haven't done anything with it.
So there we go, baby. I called it.
So, but look, you know, I knew the Red Sox didn't do enough. They needed to go out and get a pitcher for one. It's only a matter of time before Eduardo Rodriguez is out with an injury. You know, I mean, because he doesn't play a full season. You got Chris Sale coming back. Is his arm going to fall off by the end of the season? Who knows? There's too many question marks on that. And when did they pick up Travis Shaw again? I tuned in for the first game since like football was almost coming back. And then I'm seeing Travis Shaw playing first base. I'm like, what the heck's going on?
They made the mistake. They really thought they were going to be able to put Schwab at first, and I don't think it's going to work. So that's hurting them.
That's why they brought in Shaw.
And I think, honestly, they lost a little bit of the mystique. You know, they were overachieving. I'm not saying they're a bad team because I don't think they're a bad team. I really don't.
Well, I think they were to finish second in the division.
I think they're a good team. I think they have some quality players and some, you know, ability to win games. But I also think that once you start to see some of these other teams and what they've done, the only team that really amazes me still is that Tampa Bay just somehow every year, and we talked about it in the past, doesn't seem to lose stride. They don't lose stride. Yeah, and they don't have quality play. It's not like they got top-notch players. They don't pay for anything.
I look at that team, and I'm like, why are they not in 4th place?
So, you know, it just amazes me. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to be able to do enough to catch them. I think the Mariners are out of it as well. The Sox, it really depends on what, you know, the Yankees in Oakland do going forward. But again, the A's, same scenario. They seem to do enough just to win every year.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a smart organization right there. Oakland, like, they don't go out and get those big name players. They go looking for those guys by all those stupid little numbers that they figure out how they
Yeah, the
hit,
analytics. Yeah.
and it's working, and they're competing every year. And this year they did bring in some players. They weren't like big, huge names, but they brought in some players that they feel that they can get over the hump. And so far, it's working. But they do look. Boston and New York, they're gonna be there. Can Oakland, outlast one of them? Is basically what we're looking at right now. The Red Sox have too many guys that are role players that they're basically bench and they fill in spots. Like you're talking, Kiki Hernandez, like he was overachieving, and now his averages started to dip. They got rid of Marwin, and it's like they had all these guys that were Brock Holt. And in fact, I actually think Brock Holt was actually better than them.
So the thing is, though, too, it's really going to look at what's coming on for the rest of the season. I know, they're going to battle each other, I believe, again. So the Yankees and the Red Sox. But again, I think Boston has like 6 more games against Tampa.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. So again, how they perform against, Tampa is going to probably call them either way to either make it or not make it. So we'll have to see how that turns out. What about in the National League? What about the National League, though? The Dodgers and the Padres lead. Reds, surprisingly, only a game back. Cardinals 3.5. Phillies 5 back.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for the National League, especially because there's actually quite a good amount of good teams out there. I mean, you had the Cubs and Washington just pretty much unload everybody and disperse them throughout the league. And now you have like about 5 or 6 teams like in the middle of a dogfight, and they're just going. It's who can stay healthy. That's basically what it's going to come down to. Who can stay healthy?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The Mets, how far they've fallen so quick.
Yeah,
and the funny thing, as soon as Philly took over first, they've played horrible. I think they lost 7 out of the last 10 or something. It's like nobody wants to win the NL East.
Nobody wants to win.
Yeah, so it's like, you know what? And again, the Dodgers, Padres are fighting it out, and you're going to have 3 teams in the NL West that are probably going to make the playoffs because the Giants can't lose either.
Right.
So NL's fun. And then Milwaukee, nobody's talking about Milwaukee, and they've steadily all year just stayed in first. I think they're like double-digit games ahead. And nobody's counting them. And like nobody's talking about the Brewers.
No. And that's what happens to those Midwest teams. Like nobody really talks about them. And, and then they come back and they bite you in the ass in the playoffs. And that's a team that could surprise somebody in that first round. They could possibly go to the,
the series
because
they could.
They got a team. They picked up some players, so they're not chumps. They actually have some good players out there.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty amazing to see that. Again, they're not getting any credit for what they're doing, and it just baffles me because let me see now. I'm trying to check what their ranking is here. They are 74 and 48. They're actually only 4.5 games back of the Giants for the best record, and 2.5 behind the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. It's crazy to think that, and nobody's talking about it.
They got the third best record in baseball.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Look, we see what's happening to the National League East. Those teams are just beating each other up. If one of those teams have to play Milwaukee in say the first round, say it's Philadelphia versus Milwaukee, I might pick Milwaukee because of the baseball they played all year long,
Yeah.
and they haven't had to expend so much energy and all of the stuff that grinds on you throughout the season to scratch and claw all the way through. By the time you get to those playoffs, look, we've seen teams in every sport do it. You have to come out of that tough division, and you're just not ready for somebody that's rested and has their mind straight. If there's a letdown, and then you get surprised by that team, it's like, oh, great, we only have to play Milwaukee. Yeah, well, guess what?
Yeah, they have one of the best records in baseball. So,
right.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how well, obviously next week we'll cover it again, but we'll see if anything's changed or any movement. But it looks like it's going to be a fun race to the end here. A lot of teams are still involved, and a lot of teams still have some hope. So it'll be fun to see how this is going to turn out for the playoffs. Let's move on to the NFL. And the Seattle Seahawks made Jamal Adams the highest paid safety in the NFL with a 4-year, $72 million deal, $38 million guaranteed. Was this a good deal for the Seahawks?
I would think so, because they need to start saving some of their guys. It seems like it's been a revolving door the last few years. Since that bad pass in the end zone, they've been floundering with keeping their defense.
Yep, the Butler did it. Yeah.
And I think they need to start getting some stability there, and holding on to this guy, I think, is big. I mean, he sets the tone right now.
He's one of the best safeties in the league, so financially deserves it.
Right.
I would say this, though. Do you not see or feel like this is starting to turn into the same situation with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers with Russell Wilson? Like, it just seems like they're not keeping good players around Russell Wilson. And you already started to hear the rumbles this year. I think one of our first shows, we did a pick and roll on which team would be best for Russell Wilson to go to. And now you're starting to see that, they may not, again, offensively, they still need offensive help on the line. They don't still have a top-notch running back to go along with DK Metcalf as a wide receiver. So I'm starting to question, yes, Jamal Adams, smart move, keep him. But to your point, they let a lot of defensive guys go in the past, and it came back to cost them now. And can they rebuild that? I don't think they can.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers situation, where they don't hold on to anybody; they let them walk, and they don't get
4 or 5 new offensive linemen. Ben Roethlisberger this year, 4 or 5 new offensive linemen. Good luck, Ben.
Yeah. I actually feel bad for Ben, because
come on,
they haven't done justice for him. Like you're supposed to protect this guy.
They had the killer bees. They couldn't do anything.
No, they couldn't.
So we'll have to see.
On his butt.
We'll have to see how the Seahawks make out. What about with the weekend preseason games coming up? Is there any games or anything you're looking forward to that's coming up for these games?
Absolutely. Giants-Browns.
Giants-Browns, really? We just got our Giants fan that just joined us.
Oh, there we go.
So
no, seriously, because I don't think the Giants are a great team by no means yet, but I do like where they're heading, and I don't know. I want to see them match up with Cleveland, see what they got. I want to see what they got.
So I'm starting to break down, I'm starting to sway a little bit away from the Giants in the NFC East, but we'll save that for our NFL preview show on September 7th at 7 p.m.
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
It is. So I've actually got a few games that I'm interested in. KC at Arizona. So I'm interested to see if Mahomes and Murray actually play. play in that game, and it'd be fun to watch both of them and see what they can do against each other.
Yeah.
What about Tennessee at Tampa Bay?
That's the
Tampa
other
Bay,
one I was thinking
right?
of.
Tampa Bay didn't look good week 1. I know Brady only had one series, but if you think about it, he got hit quick. They got him out. They were like, we're not even taking a chance. They could have a hiccup this year. I think, to me, Bruce Arians, I don't know. The more I hear this guy talk, I just don't like him. I think the guy's an idiot. I think he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL. I think he got lucky last year because Tom Brady ran that team.
Oh, yeah.
I could see him single-handedly ruining this season for them and them not making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the other teams. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Did you happen to see the altercation between Brown and one of the cornerbacks for the Tennessee Titans during practice the other day?
No, I did not.
So clear as day, there's a picture of Antonio Brown clocking this guy fist right to the face. Bruce Arians, during an interview, is like, yeah, I didn't see any punches. Nobody really threw anything. The guy doesn't even know what's going on in this team. He's got no clue. He's literally just there because they have to have a head coach. Tom Brady's running that team.
Look, what could derail the Tampa Bay Bucks is Antonio Brown, because now he's got a year under his belt. They won the Super Bowl. Everybody loves all the players, and now he can go back to the way he was. And doing that in the Tennessee game, it just shows it. Antonio Brown should probably not even be on this team anymore. You know,
Tom wanted him. Tom gets him.
Right.
Tom's the GM, the head coach. I think his son a ball boy. Like, he's actually hiring people for the organization now and his family. I don't know. Giselle's probably going to be the model for the billboards. Like,
his son is the ball boy?
Yes. I just.
He's got somebody on the inside of the balls again.
You know the funny thing? Bill Belichick wouldn't let that happen. That's why he left New England, because Bill stood his ground.
You know, Bill might sick the league on Tom Brady for the deflated balls again.
How about some of the rookies going again? Justin Fields. Look forward to seeing what he does in his second game. Trevor Lawrence obviously needs to perform a little better. Your boy, Zach Wilson, the Jets. I know you're excited to see these Jets finally take off. I know you're dying. You're dying to see that.
Yeah, I'm dying to see him throw 4 picks.
And then even Trey Lance. Is he going to be good enough to beat out Jimmy G at some point this season? It's going to be a good sample size this week. They probably get 2 quarters, all of them, I would think.
Yeah.
So we'll get to see a lot of them. So that'd be fun. Here's my last one, and this is a sneaky one. Indy at Minnesota. And you go, what? Why is the big deal with Indy?
No, I actually was looking at that game too. Because, first of all, I want to know what Minnesota's got.
Okay.
Because right now I'm looking at Tampa Bay standing alone, because New Orleans is not going to give them much, to offer. So it's going to come out of like that NFC West. But we look at those Chicago and Minnesota, see what they can do. And Minnesota is intriguing because they've always had some great defense.
Yeah.
Can they put some offense now together and get that team rolling? That's what they need to show, because I'm not worried about their defense.
Yeah. They have one of the best running backs in the league, Dalvin Cook. So,
right.
Again, you know what I mean? Kirk Cousins stays healthy. You got Thielen. I mean, they've got good offensive talent. So, yeah. My reason I'm curious for this game, though, is I want to see how Indy's quarterbacks perform. There's a lot of talk that Wentz wants to come back already. If this team is smart, right, you keep him out a couple of weeks to make sure he heals properly, because you know he's going to get hurt again.
Right.
If these quarterbacks stink, though, and they don't do well, does that move that bar so much quicker to get him into these games and say, look, he's week 1, he's going regardless, because these guys just aren't good enough? That one's a sneaky one, because people aren't going to think of it that way. And I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, is this going to affect Wentz having to come back sooner than he should have? Well,
it's also going to tell us a lot about the team. Are they going to go into panic mode and put him in too early.
Right? What if these
Are
guys
they going
stink?
to allow it?
Ron, what if these guys stink and they throw 4 picks? They can't hold on to the ball. This team gets blown out. It's like, put Wentz. We need Wentz. He's not ready, but we'll put him in. He said he could play.
Right. That's what I mean about going into panic mode. Like, they could pull the trigger and just listen to the player for once, and that's a bad move.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that game turns out. But those are any more for you? Any other game?
Well, who is the Jets? Who are the Jets playing this week?
It doesn't matter. They got to win. Whoever. I will tell you in a second. Yeah. Does it matter? But we'll see.
No, it matters.
It matters. The Jets are playing at Green Bay.
Actually, that
Aaron Rodgers is not playing. Aaron Rodgers is not playing.
No, why would he? So I don't know. I want to see, Arizona. I want to see how they get through the preseason because I want to see if they can contend. Like right now, as I'm looking, I don't see a contender right now for Tampa Bay.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Houston at Dallas. I mean,
No.
Both of those teams are going to implode at some point, and it's just going to be fun to watch, but we'll have to see. Although they could win the NFC East. I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to win the NFC East. I mean, that might be giving you a sneak peek as to who I'm picking for the NFC East right now.
Okay, well, just put it this way. If Houston beats Dallas, Dallas has no shot. No shot.
Once again, if you're joining us, we're live on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. You can also watch us later on Twitch. Follow us at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram, and our podcast on Anchor, Google, and Spotify. So a lot of different ways to watch us, follow us. And we appreciate all the fans that are watching and following. Always great to see. Ron, it's that time, my friend. We are on to the pick and roll.
Wait, no, didn't we already do pick and roll?
We did not do the pick and roll. We did the face-off and we did the triple play.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what I did here. I put the graphics in the wrong spot.
All right. So we're ranking. The NBA released like a mini schedule. They haven't released the full schedule. They released the Christmas games. So we're going to rank which games we are more interested in on Christmas Day in the NBA. So the Hawks at Knicks, Celtics at Bucks, Warriors at Suns, Nets at Lakers, and Mavs at Jazz. And you're up first. Getting no sound from you, buddy. Oh, we did so well. We were going so well.
All right, are you there? Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So I picked Hawks and Knicks at number 4, starting in the playoffs. If it doesn't entice me in the playoffs, I don't really care about it, on Christmas Day. I don't care.
Okay.
Number 3, Mavs and Jazz. Okay, Jazz, great team last year. Luka coming in. Did the Mavs do enough to maybe move up in this conference? That's me to see what they've done. Number 2, I have Boston and the Bucks. Were much better than this past season. I put it at number 2 because of all the changes that they've made, including GM.
let's see if this is what, if they moved in the right direction, basically. So if the Celtics moved in the right direction, it will be a great game. If they did not, it is going to be more of the same. But that is intriguing to me. I really want to see how they measure up to the Bucks now. Number one, I put Nets and Lakers because I felt very strong like this was going to be the championship game, and
Yep.
it's almost like I feel gypped that I wasn't right. So now I want to see this. I mean, it could just happen this year, a year later than what it was supposed to happen. I'm still not saying that because of everybody being brittle. But see this game because that's what everybody thought we were going to get. That makes this my most interesting game to watch.
Not a bad list. I mean, we didn't agree on most of it, but I mean, that's not surprising.
Go figure.
So at number 5, I had the Mavs at Jazz. Yes, there's some stars. Yes, the Jazz were a really good team, but again, no intrigue to me. Like, yay, Jazz fans. But you know what I mean? I don't see it. At number 4, I had the Celtics at the Bucks. Bucks won the championship. The Celtics haven't proven anything. They're chasing. So to me, I'm not as intrigued with this game. Just feel like, look, the Celtics got way too much to prove at this point. At number 3, I had the Warriors at the Suns. Are the Warriors back? Are they healthy? Are they going to push the Suns back out of the playoff picture? Like, this one intrigues me because there's a lot of different storylines can go a different way, and are the Suns for real? The Warriors were the team of the West. The Suns are trying to become the team of the West. So we'll have to see how that game turns out. At number 2, I had the Hawks at the Knicks. And I just think Trae Young going back into New York and how the fans hate him there now after those playoffs and him just egging on those fans as he was beating the Knicks. That is going to be such a fun environment. Spike Lee, will be on the sideline. Him and Trae will probably have some words. That's a fun game. I have to agree with you, though. Best game should be the Nets at the Lakers. Big threes are going against each other, but are they going to be healthy? Are they all going to be there? If they all are, great game. Best game on that docket. If they're not healthy, though, and we're getting only half of the players, I'm going to be disappointed because then this would obviously fall way out of the number 5 list.
So is that going to be the first game of the season?
No, it is not.
So
all right, well, let's move on to our predictions.
LeBron James whine and
Yes.
complain about a long.
All right, let's try these predictions here. We'll see if we get through this. I did win last week, 1-0. Yes. All right. On 8/21, we got the Titans at the Bucks. So preseason tomorrow night.
I'm going to go Titans.
All right, me too. Agree. White Sox at Rays. It's a 3-game series.
I'm going to go the Chicago White Sox.
All right, I'm going Rays. I just think they need to stay ahead of the Red Sox and Yankees, and they're going to do that. Yankees at Braves on 8/23. It's a 2-game series.
You know me, like predict like Yankees winning any.
I know, buddy.
But I think they're going to take.
All right, we agree. Agree.
That actually pains me to say that.
Tomorrow night, Manny Pacquiao versus Udanis Oga for the WBA welterweight championship. What do you got? Ugas.
Well,
Ugas.
the brains in me tells me that Ugas is going to win, but I cannot against Pacquiao. First of all, I like Manny. I like him. So I'm going to go with Pacquiao.
All right, I'm gonna go Ugas.
A big game
I'm
fighter.
going Ugas. I love Pacquiao. I think he's one of the best fighters of all time, but I just think he's done. I think his career's over. I mean, I think it's gonna be a good fight, but I don't see him winning this, and this might end up actually ending his career.
Okay.
Next week we are going to talk some more NFL preseason, and we'll continue to talk about the Major League Baseball. So stay tuned for that. Once again, if you're watching us, we're on Rhode Island Broadcasting every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube, and at a later date on Twitch. Follow us at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram, and podcasts on Anchor, Google, and Spotify. And don't forget to tune in to us on September 7th at 7 p.m. We will be doing our NFL preview show. It'll be about 2.5 hour special with our guest Kenny, who will be joining us as well to do our football show. So looking forward to that in a few weeks. Once again, if you haven't watched the show before, we end our show on our final thought. Doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. Ron, you're up first, my friend. Your final thought.
I couldn't wait. I could not wait for this. My final thought is for Space Jam 2.
Go.
Okay, so I attempted to watch that piece of crap. I attempted to watch it, and it was nothing more than somebody putting a camera in front of LeBron and just out to the world, pimping him out. He is terrible. Like movie, I couldn't even get through like 20 minutes, 25 minutes of it. It made me sick to my stomach even trying to attempt to watch this. It was not like Space Jam, the original, where it was, effort and, everybody's playing and teaching lessons and all that. No, this was just promoting LeBron James, and it was just so sickening to watch. And after 25 minutes, I had to shut that off, and it might be the worst movie I've attempted to watch in a decade. That is my final thought. I cannot stand it. Do not watch it. Watch something else, anything else. Whatever's around it, click on that. Don't click on Space Jam. Period. Crap.
So too late. I did watch it, but great final thought. We know how you feel about Space Jam 2. So my final thought's actually a very personal one. Today is my 12-year wedding anniversary. So
Yay,
my beautiful wife.
Thank
you. My beautiful wife, obviously with doing the show plus working a full-time job, obviously my time gets sometimes a little tight, and I appreciate all the support she gives me on being able to do Sports Unfolded. Her understanding of us being able to get through this, but it's been 12 wonderful years, looking for many, many more to come. But I wanted to just wish her a happy anniversary. I know she's always one of our loyal fans and watches as well, so I appreciate that. I love you. Thank you, baby. And that's my final thought. And thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Ron, we'll try to do this Sunday morning. Have a great night.
Yep. Take care. See you, everybody. Here we go.